Hello there, I'm Ray Butch Camboa, and this is Motoring Today, your longest-running weekly motoring news and features electronic magazine. It's that time of the year when we present our report on the happenings, events, and issues that relate to or affect everything motoring in the year that is ending. All things good or bad that affect our everyday motoring experience, as well as that of commuters, pedestrians, and the general public. And certainly, year 2018 has seen good and bad. Whether seen in equal measure or with one more than the other, we leave up to you, our loyal viewers. In the next hour or so, we present to you as much as we can of the happenings, significant or trivial, that Motoring Today witnessed and reported on over the past 12 months. So please stay tuned. When we return, we begin a month-on-month review of our motoring coverage in year 2018.
This Motoring Today Year-End Special episode is brought to you by CAMPI, or the Chamber of Automotive Manufacturers of the Philippines, Honda Cars Philippines, Mitsubishi Motors Philippines, Prudential Guarantee, Suzuki Philippines, and Toyota Motor Philippines.
Introducing the all-new Mitsubishi Xpander.
I'm gonna miss you.
I'll miss you too.
So, why are you back?
I didn't want to miss you. Be comfortable when you're out of your comfort zone and embrace a wider world of adventure. BRV, rise above your limits.
Calling all automobile enthusiasts. Autofocus.com.ph is exclusive to the automobile, where you'll find reviews on the latest brand new car models, together with their head-to-head comparisons. It has the detailed specs of car models available in the country and their latest SRPs and special promos, together with the latest auto industry news and developments like car launches and test drives. Autofocus.com.ph is all about automobiles. Click on.
The things that make my day. My mini-me. My kind of jam. My passion. My blend of coffee. My inspiration. That's all good with the all-new Vios. My Vios, my drive.
This Motoring Today Year-End Special episode is brought to you by CAMPI, or the Chamber of Automotive Manufacturers of the Philippines, Honda Cars Philippines, Mitsubishi Motors Philippines, Prudential Guarantee, Suzuki Philippines, and Toyota Motor Philippines.
Welcome back to our year-end special featuring the year that was in motoring. But before we begin, a caveat. We are presenting our review month on month, but of events or topics that we report on of the week or two before each Motoring Today edition. So some events or issues tackled in 1 month may have occurred in the month just past, which explains why we begin our review with February.
February, a month of good beginnings. The DOTR, in partnership with Ayala Corp, broke ground for the construction of the Taguig Integrated Terminal Exchange, a 6-story building on a 5.57-hectare property at the FTI that will one day house a passenger concourse, centralized ticket area, business and retail establishments, and more importantly, parking area and bays that could service and accommodate an estimated turnaround of 4,000 buses and 160,000 passengers on a daily basis when it begins operations in the middle of 2020. The DOTR aired a 4-point plan to improve the Metro Rail Transit service. 1. Terminate the maintenance and service contract of Busan Universal Rail Inc. that has obviously not lived up to expectations. 2. Creation of a maintenance transition team to oversee MRT maintenance and operations, while 3. DOTR contracts a new and more reliable maintenance service provider. 4. Put in place a long-term, single point of responsibility for operation and maintenance provider. Also, DOTR is finally moving to resolve in one way or the other the problem with the so-called Dalian trains. All 48 new coaches procured in the previous administration from Dalian Company in China are still unused because of compatibility problems with the present MRT system. An independent audit and assessment consultant has been called in to see what can be done. Meanwhile, the DOTR coordinated with the MMDA and its line agencies to deploy MMDA buses, as well as several point-to-point buses, to ferry passengers from the MRT terminal in North Avenue to Ortigas and Ayala stations. The deployment of P2P buses is part of a pilot project called Alalay sa MRT. Things are going better at the LRT too, which has gotten TESDA accreditation to undertake a program for upgrading the competencies of its personnel, including drivers of trains, through the Light Rail Transit Authority Philippine Railway Training Center. To ensure plans to regulate the use of tints on vehicle windshields and windows, whether private or public utility vehicles, the LTO conducted consultations with window film suppliers, vehicle manufacturers, transport network vehicle service operators, and the motoring media. The consultation sought to gather data on available tints on the market, standard privacy glass use as OEM in certain vehicles, and what levels of shades were acceptable to vehicle owners looking for safety, security, or comfort from use of tints. This follows proposals to restrict driver-only vehicles from using certain thoroughfares to ease traffic congestion, as well as proposals to regulate the use of tints to deter criminality. The LTO also assured vehicle owners that it is moving to solve the delays in the issuance of license plates, particularly for vehicles registered in 2017, which will get their plates in the first half of the year. LTO district and satellite offices connected to its IT network will begin issuing 5-year validity licenses. LTO is also moving towards introducing online transactions for such things as renewal of licenses. Also, more emission testing machines will be procured as part of LTO's Tanggal Bulok, Tanggal Usok campaign. At the same time, LTO moved to regulate the use of so-called e-bikes or bicycles powered by batteries and electric motors. More and more of slow-moving e-bikes are making their way on city streets. The LTO directed owners to register their e-bikes as light electric vehicles or LEVs, but only at 4 branch offices. The IAC convened and consulted stakeholders to seek suggestions and recommendations to ease traffic congestions in the metro. Among suggestions were establishing multi-level parking facilities along PNR property and in private property in barangays, roads parallel to the Pasig River, modernizing the ferry system. In welcoming 2018, the MMDA reiterated programs and initiatives to fulfill its main function, managing traffic in the metro. Its primary concern is the continued rise of vehicle volume on streets, which means volume vehicle schemes will continue, and doing more to remove street obstructions, primarily illegally parked vehicles. Also a focus on the new year, helping ease congestion as a result of the Duterte administration's Build, Build, Build program. Persons with disabilities can now benefit from 20% discounts on the use of PUVs. The DOTR, through the LTFRB, issued a memorandum directing all PUV operators and drivers to give 20% fare discounts to PWDs who must present ID cards issued by the National Council for the Welfare of Disabled Persons or duly authorized LGU officials. The DOTR, the DILG, and the DPWH issued a joint memorandum circular that would pave the way for the setting of speed limits on all roads, streets, and highways. Joint Memorandum Circular 2018-001 sets guidelines for how roads, streets, major thoroughfares, and highways are classified, and speed limits are set with local governments given the final say on classification and speed limits in respective jurisdictions. The DOTR is to train, educate, help build the capacity of LGUs necessary for setting the safe and proper speed limits on various classifications of thoroughfares. In the first months of the year, the DPWH checked on the status of the 45-kilometer Cavite-Laguna Expressway, or CALEX, project that would help link the Cavitex to the SLEX and cut travel time between the two by 45 minutes. According to the Metro Pacific Tollways South Corporation, right-of-way issues still need to be resolved, but it aims to complete the 18-kilometer Laguna segment of the project by year-end. March, opening of gateways. In the third month of the year, we reported that the NLEX Corporation formally opens the new SCTEX Mabiga interchange and the NLEX Santa Ines Magalang exit, with ceremonial drive-thrus with government officials of Pampanga. The two provide new, safer, more efficient gateways from the expressways to MacArthur Highway and the local traffic network in Magalang, Pampanga. This is all part of NLEX Corporation's grand plan to expand and enhance all expressways it operates. This includes finally completing the Harbor Link project and opening a vital link to the NLEX from the ports, which means trucks no longer need to go through congested streets of Metro Manila. Also in the works is putting into place a more modern, efficient, and linked toll collection system, complementing efforts to improve connectivity between NLEX and the SCTEX. And, as happens in March of every year, tollway operators prepare for the great exodus of vehicles and people traveling out of Metro Manila to the provinces and back during the Semana Santa. By now, the public knows the many names or taglines the preparations are dubbed. The Metro Pacific Tollways Corporation, or MPTC, calls its Motorist Assistance Program as Safe Trip Mo, Sagot Ko. But MPTC said this is an all-year program that is only highlighted during long weekends or extended holidays like the Holy Week, Undas, and Christmas holidays. The DOTR also has its own yearly assistance program for motorists and commuters, which it now calls Oplan Biyaheng Ayos Semana Santa 2018. In March also comes a report during the 36th joint meeting of the Japan-Philippines Economic Cooperation Committee that studies conducted by the Japan International Cooperation Committee estimated that the worsening traffic conditions in Metro Manila is costing 3.5 billion pesos in lost opportunities per day. The JICA study also suggested that this could reach 5.4 billion pesos a day in 2035 if no action is taken to improve the traffic situation. Reacting to the report, the MMDA said that this is why it was actively supporting the Duterte administration's Build, Build, Build program. It may be a coincidence or not that JICA, along with various academic institutions, is partnering with the DOTR to establish what will be known as the Philippine Railways Institute, or PRI, a training institution and licensing body for personnel involved in the operation and maintenance of rail transport. The DOTR is open about linking the establishment of the PRI with government plans to build an expansive network of railways, more than 1,900 kilometers of railways by 2022, including a subway in Metro Manila. In the third month of the year, the DOTR spun off a new initiative from its Tanggal Bulok, Tanggal Usok campaign. The new initiative, Sumbong Bulok, Sumbong Usok, set up a digital hotline where people can report smoke belching or dilapidated vehicles, as well as obstructions on the road. The hotline can be accessed through iACT's Messenger link on its Facebook page. Also in March, it was reported that the LTO opened a different sort of gateway, a gateway that makes it easier for people to process applications such as things as licenses, permits, or renewal of vehicle registration. LTO calls the program the e-Patrol Operations Outreach Program, in which it conducts on-site operations in government facilities, private companies, and associations. Things are heating up on Metro Manila streets, and it's not all about the summer approaching. MMDA noticed that more and more of its constables were getting involved in heated confrontations with motorists. To help protect the constables against the violent motorists, MMDA ordered batons issued to frontline personnel. Since coming into office, the Duterte administration has been adamant about ridding the streets of dilapidated and smoke-belching jeepneys and replacing them with modern public utility vehicles, but it took pains to make the public, jeepney, and transport operators and drivers understand that it doesn't want them to lose their livelihood, but to help them modernize their operations. The message has not fallen on deaf ears as early in 2018, as the FEDOHAP and the AutoDAP signed a memorandum of agreement with Eco Jeep Inc. for the replacement of units of their members and fleet management. The government's public utility vehicle modernization program is also benefiting the local e-vehicle industry, products of which are exempted from the train law that has conventional fossil fuel-powered vehicles more expensive. The Electric Vehicle Association of the Philippines, or EVAP, plans to hold a summit that would further promote its gains, and major auto manufacturers are expected to showcase their e-vehicles. EVAP has big ambitions for the country on the e-vehicle front, envisioning the country as the regional hub for the industry. Meanwhile, social media again was a gateway for the spread of fake news. One such piece of misinformation that went viral was that the MMDA would no longer physically apprehend motorists for so-called moving violations as a consequence of the implementation of its No Contact Apprehension Policy, or NCAP. The MMDA immediately reacted through its portals in social media that the MMDA constables will continue to apprehend traffic rules violators.
The year 2018 certainly had a good beginning. Good projects and programs from the previous year being continued and enhanced well into the new year. Will this continue in the second quarter of the year? Find out when we return from this break.
The things that make my day. My mini-me. My kind of jam. My passion. My blend of coffee. My inspiration. That's all good with the all-new Vios. My Vios, my drive.
Introducing the all-new Mitsubishi Xpander.
Be comfortable when you're out of your comfort zone and embrace a wider world of adventure. BRV, rise above your limits.
This Motoring Today Year-End Special episode is brought to you by CAMPI, or the Chamber of Automotive Manufacturers of the Philippines, Honda Cars Philippines, Mitsubishi Motors Philippines, Prudential Guarantee, Suzuki Philippines, and Toyota Motor Philippines.
Welcome back to our year-end review of all things motoring and motorist-related, the events and issues that occurred or affected all of us in 2018. We've just gone through the first quarter, and it was good, and we're on to the second.
April, a month for tough action. The DOTR marched double time to the President's order and established Task Force Kamao, with Transport Undersecretary Tomas Orbos as commander and LTFRB Chairman Martin Delgra III as deputy commander. The mission? Monitor colorum vehicle operations and go after them. Task Force Kamao went about its mission seriously, involving the intelligence community, the MMDA, and the PNP Highway Patrol Group. Again, the public is urged to report Kalaram vehicle operations through IAC Sumbong Bulok Sumbong Usok hotline and social media portals. The Get Tough policy against Kalaram PUVs using mall-hosted transport terminals should certainly be welcomed by Frolic Tours, a P2P bus company. After 2 years of operating P2P services, Frolic now has a fleet of 38 P2P buses with 6 more on order. P2P services, aircon buses that run on schedule with limited stops for loading and unloading of passengers, is getting more popular among commuters. It helps that the LTFRB restricts Kalaram operations in their routes, the company says, adding that it will also benefit from the LTFRB Drivers Academy in hiring competent and reliable drivers for its P2P operations. Meanwhile, the DOTR and the LTO reported that it has begun manufacturing license plates using its own plate making and embossing machines at the LTO Motor Vehicle License Plate Facility. This will help the LTO solve the problem in backlogs and long waiting times for issuance of license plates for newly registered vehicles. Within the month, the said agencies inaugurated the plate making and embossing machines. It expects to have all 7 machines to be fully operational by August of 2018. Also showing steadfastness to its PUV modernization program, the DOTR held what it called the Public Transport Modernization Expo, Modernong Sasakyan Progresibong Bayan, at the PICC Forum in Pasay City. The expo showcased the different prototypes of modern PUVs and highlights the benefits of transport modernization to commuters and operators. Aside from moving towards a single, more efficient toll collection system, the term interoperability is used by the Toll Regulatory Board, providing quicker transactions at toll gates, shorter queuing times, and seamless transfers between linked tollways. The SCTEX and the NLEX is working to strengthen safety and security for motorists using the expressways. More and better lights at night, more extensive CCTV monitoring systems. Also reported in April, the PNR is working on sorting out right-of-way issues to facilitate the construction of the planned 200-kilometer elevated railway system that will start from Los Baños in Laguna, cut across to Tutuban in Manila before extending to Malolos. Whatever motorcycling groups think about it, the Metro Manila Council, comprising mayors of cities and the lone municipality in Metro Manila, has approved the establishment of non-exclusive lanes along Marcos Highway from Katipunan to Sumulong Highway, Ross Boulevard from Airport Road to the Andes Circle in Manila. Also approved by the MMC, amending light truck man hours on EDSA and Shaw Boulevard in the jurisdictions of Mandaluyong and Pasig, banning cargo trucks 4,500 gross capacity weight and below from the thoroughfares from 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. Monday to Saturday. It's tougher out there for truck operators. In Congress, the House Committee on Transportation approved House Bill 1318, which seeks to require motorcycles to have a device or feature that automatically turns on and keeps headlights turned on whenever the engine is started. April saw the launch of Transport Watch by transport safety advocates and major industry players. Among Transport Watch's first target, habal-habal operators, using motorcycles for public transport, taking advantage of social media portals to offer the still illegal service to commuters. Facebook is a popular medium. April also witnessed LTFRB getting tough on Grab Philippines, issuing a show cause order to the TNVS operator asking it to explain why it began charging 2 peso per minute in addition to the fare charges passengers. Party representatives in the House accused Grab of charging fare over and beyond that approved by LTFRB. The LTFRB has also moved to lower Grab's surging price cap from 2 to 1.5% of regular fare. The DOTR entered into an agreement with North Luzon Express Terminals Inc. to build a 5 billion peso integrated transport terminal on Iglesia ni Cristo property in Bulacan. Construction is expected to begin within the year and be finished in 3 years. The long MRT Dalian train saga continued with the weight testing of the train supplied the Chinese company, but never used because of concerns it was too heavy for existing rails of the MRT. The trains were weight loaded with sandbags to simulate maximum passenger capacity. The results will be used to help determine if the 48 Dalian supply trains can safely be used in MRT operations. May, a month for gratitude. Active personnel of the Armed Forces of the Philippines can now ride for free on MRT-3. A memorandum to this effect was signed by the DOTR, MRT-3 management, and the AFP. DOTR says this is in recognition of the sacrifices of men in uniform in defending our country. This free ride agreement holds until December this year. In return for the free rides for soldiers, the AFP will provide media mileage to the DOTR and MRT3 through the Civil Service Relations AFP office. The AFP will also provide MRT3 ambulance and medical teams in emergency and crisis situations. Also free is the issuance of PUV franchises, although there is a very minimal filing fee. LTFRB Chairman Delgra made this clarification during a forum of the Society of Philippine Motoring Journalists. Delgra also made clear that PUV franchises can be bought or sold. Commuters coming from east of Metro Manila and heading south have begun to benefit from a new P2P bus service route linking SM City Masinag in Antipolo to Greenbelt 5 in Makati. This is being provided by RRCG Transport, one of the first to provide P2P service to routes originating from Alabang. That its P2P services are thriving indicates commuters are gratified by their convenience and reliability. Those who find renewal of licenses or vehicle registrations a chore should be gratified by LTO instituting an online appointment and scheduling system. A special lane is designated for those who book schedules on license or registration renewal. As of May this year, the online appointment system is in place at LTO district offices in Muntinlupa, Pasig, Novaliches, Marikina, and the central office in Quezon City. After Uber stopped its operations in the country, many feared Grab would take advantage of its virtual monopoly of the TNVS market. They should be gratified to learn that the LTFRB has been fast-tracking the entry of more TNCs. However, most of those given accredited are based out of Metro Manila. The new list includes MyCab, which offers taxi hailing services in Cebu, Bacolod, Baguio, Iloilo, and only lately, Metro Manila. GoLag, which operates in Laguna, Hirna, which started in Davao and now expanding to other areas, and Hype, which books passengers through text messages. Not quite gratifying is the report that the MMDA clearing operations have been met by resilient efforts of the illegal vendors to return to and again become obstructions on sidewalks and streets, like in Baclaran and many other areas in the metro that had earlier been declared clear. Still, it's gratifying to hear MMDA say its clearing operations will continue to be intensified throughout the year. LRT2 continues to lead the way in providing efficient and reliable light rail transit services, as well as training and development of rail transit personnel. Its latest achievement is the introduction and use of a simulator to enhance skills and competence of trained drivers. The LRT2 is also moving forward on initiatives to extending the rail line to the east following the completion of the Emerald and Masinag stations. Transport officials report that the LRT2 East extension will become operational by the third quarter of 2019. Meanwhile, commuters are gratified to learn that the MRT3 has begun operating daily with 18 trains in operations when before it has gone down to 10 trains in operations, resulting in long waits in between trains at stations. With 18 trains, turnaround times and wait times for trains were shortened. Also, MRT3 reports it has not experienced breakdowns or unloading problems in weeks. The government also continues to push the establishment of intermodal transport hubs at the periphery of Metro Manila. The Parañaque Integrated Terminal Exchange is set to begin partial operations before the second quarter of the year ends, according to the DOTR. When fully operational, the intermodal transport hub will have links to LRT1 and allow for convenient transfers between provincial and city buses, jeepney routes, shuttle, and UV Express vans. When fully completed, the terminal will feature passenger terminal buildings, arrival and departure bays, public information systems, ticketing and baggage handling equipment, and park ride facilities. It can accommodate 200,000 passengers daily. June. Jobs, jobs, jobs. The many road, rail, and other infrastructure projects being undertaken by the government, alone or in partnership with the private sector, all part of the Build, Build, Build program of the Duterte administration, are creating jobs for many people from engineers, architects to the people doing all the hard work of construction. Government initiated the Jobs, Jobs, Jobs online portal listing the many employment opportunities created by the Build, Build, Build program. The DPWH is one of the many agencies using the said job portal. The job of managing Metro Manila traffic has seen the MMDA, under many chairmen and administrations, trying out all sorts of schemes, from the mundane to the bizarre, and yet congestion seems to worsen with each passing year. In June of 2018, MMDA looked to Korea for solutions. The MMDA has invited Dr. Kim Wan-jib, who works for the Seoul Metropolitan Government, to discuss in a forum how the South Korean capital efficiently manages traffic using its transportation operation and information service. The MMDA hopes to adapt Seoul's intelligent transport system for use in helping solve Metro Manila's worsening traffic congestion. In the final month of the second quarter, LRT2 took on the job of replacing the air conditioning system of all its coaches and trains. It's a big job as replacement of the old and obsolete AC system will take 8 to 10 months, but all to the benefit of its passengers. LRT2 management also reported that its West Extension project will see 2 more stations added to extend its service to Tutuban and Dampier 4 in the Port of Manila. June is when the school year starts for most colleges and universities, and the DOTR and the LTFRB reminded POV operators and drivers about giving students the government-mandated 20% discounts on fare. IACT also took the opportunity to remind jeepney and bus drivers that senior citizens and PWDs also are entitled to 20% discounts. It also encouraged students, seniors, and the PWDs to report drivers who refuse to give discounts. IACT has also been quite active in pushing for stricter implementation of traffic rules and regulations, as well as vehicle compliance with regulations for equipment and features that make vehicles safe and roadworthy. It reported a 99% increase in the number of motorists apprehended for various violations in the first 4 months of 2018 compared to that recorded in the last 4 months of 2017. Also in June, the Senate Employees Transport Service Cooperative, or SETSCO, began operating a jeepney service using 15 modern public utility jeepneys. SETSCO is one of the first beneficiaries of the PUVMP, taking advantage of soft financing from government-owned or operated financial institutions. SETSCO has obtained LTFRB approval to service routes encompassing the Star City CCP, the PICC, the GSIS, the Senate Building, the Mall of Asia, and the Parañaque Integrated Terminal Exchange. The LTFRB has already been regulating TNCs and TNVS for more than a year or 2 before the DOTR finally issued in the middle of 2018 a department order that formally gave the LTFRB full authority over them. This legitimizes TNC and TNVS operations. The LTO plate-making facility and machines inaugurated in the second quarter began shipping license plates to district office for distribution to vehicle owners in the third quarter. Meanwhile, motorcycle groups led by the Riders of the Philippines again took to the streets to call attention to what they call discrimination against them and to call for unity in promoting rider rights and riding safety and discipline.
An eye-opener in the second quarter of the year is how government's Build, Build, Build program leads to jobs, jobs, jobs. It's something motorists who can only see how build, 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 crossing traffic, fail to see. What other eye-openers are in store for us in the next quarter of our year-end review? Stick with us to find out after this break.
Be comfortable when you're out of your comfort zone and embrace a wider world of adventure. BRV, rise above your limits.
Introducing the all-new Mitsubishi Expander.
These are the Fuel Masters. Every time they're on the court, it's high performance. Every time I'm on the road, I can also expect high performance from Phoenix Fuels. We made it! The next generation Phoenix Fuels, now with Pulse technology, delivers enhanced power and acceleration to make every trip come alive.
The things that make my day. My mini-me. My kind of jam. My passion. my blend of coffee. My inspiration. That's all good with the all-new Vios. My drive.
Be comfortable when you're out of your comfort zone and embrace a wider world of adventure. BRV, rise above your limits.
This Motoring Today Year-End Special episode is brought to you by CAMPI, or the Chamber of Automotive Manufacturers of the Philippines, Honda Cars Philippines, Mitsubishi Motors Philippines, Prudential Guarantee, Suzuki Philippines, and Toyota Motor Philippines.
Welcome back to your Sunday Weekly Habit, and we still have the year that was in motoring as our year-end special. We're now into what Motoring Today reported, recorded, and covered in the third quarter of the year.
No-nos of July. July starts with a no. No tricycle is allowed to be used for transporting children to school. The LTFRB reminded the MMDA, schools, and the public about the kinds of vehicles that can be used for busing kids to schools. These include vans, minibuses, chasers, coaches, and buses, and three-wheeled vehicles are not in the list. No authorized use of wangbang and blinkers will be tolerated, according to the PNP Highway Patrol Group, which has launched another campaign to catch private vehicles with blinkers and sirens. The law says blinkers and sirens can only be used by vehicles for use of, among others, the AFP, the NBI, the PNP, fire departments, and hospital ambulances. Vehicles of politicians and their bodyguards are not included in the list. No terminals can operate on EDSA that can comply with MMDA's nose-in, nose-out policy. The MMDA shut down operations of 5 bus terminals on EDSA that violated the nose-in, nose-out policy. Bus terminals must operate in a way that buses don't block EDSA traffic while reversing into a terminal. No to illegal towing outfits operating in Metro Manila, cried the MMDA and local government units in the metro. The MMDA and the LGUs are coordinating efforts to rid the metro of colorum towing firms. Towing firms must be accredited with the LTFRB, which also issues certifications for roadworthiness of tow trucks. While the PNP is saying yes to the use of stickers on motorcycles to make them more easily identifiable to authorities on where they are registered. Motorcycle groups led by the Riders of the Philippines say no. The PNP believes this can help deter riding in tandem crimes. The ROTP says it's a waste of time and money, as well as making motorcycle registration even more tedious. The ROTP also shouted no to proposals to ban the use of full face masks to deter again riding in tandem crimes. The proposal goes against national laws on the use of helmets, the ROTP said. A similar yes and no response greeted the report on MMDA forced to postpone implementation of a directive to ban provincial buses from EDSA on certain hours. Yes from provincial bus operators, and no from motorists who thought the ban would help ease congestion on EDSA. July was not all about no's. There were yeses to report. More transport cooperatives got approved for participation in the PUVMP, with the LTFRB granting them provisional authority to operate PUV services in designated routes using units that comply with government standards for PUVs. Yes may have been the response of many vehicle owners to the report that the LTOs finally began to distribute license plates for vehicles registered from July to October 2016. Another round of yeses would be the response to the LTFRB giving 2 PUV drivers recognition for exemplary service. Grab driver Arnel Oyardo Lunar for helping save the life of his passenger who was having a heart attack, and taxi driver Rex Binibini for returning 10,000 pesos in cash left behind by a passenger. Also getting a big yes from jeepney drivers nationwide is a report that the fuel subsidy program for PUJ, the Pantawid Pasada program of the government, was finally to be implemented amidst mounting fuel costs. But it's definitely a maybe for the use of cable cars to help ease traffic. Transport Secretary Artogade said he was talking with proponents about the feasibility of cable cars operated along the Pasig River, Boracay, and Baguio. July also witnessed the holding of the annual Phil Auto Expo, which was significant for highlighting how important the trucking sector is to the economy. and how a healthy trucking sector is vital to traders and retailers, and at the end of it all, the consumers. They are not just the bane of motorists for congesting roads, and it was vital for government to be circumspect in implementing policies that affected the viability of their operations. Reiterations of August. August seems like a month of reiteration of events and issues already reported and discussed in the months leading to the 8th month of the year. Starting off with the launch of what the DOTR called the first batch of modern PUVs that meet the Bureau of Standards specifications for defined classifications of it. Perhaps the formal launching of so-called modern PUVs held at the Quirino Grandstand in Manila was meant to reiterate that government was steadfast in modernizing the transport sector and rid the streets of dilapidated and unroadworthy jeepneys, buses, and other PUVs. But even before the formal Manila Grandstand launch, modern PUVs could already be seen plying some routes. The PUV-MP is complemented by LTFRB's omnibus franchising guidelines, and early in the year, the DOTR and its line agencies have been working with the DILG and local governments on identifying routes for public transport in respective jurisdictions. The route plans will be submitted to the LTFRB to be included in the local public transport route plan to be administered by the same agency. Another reiteration is the report on MMDA banning provincial buses from EDSA from 7 to 10 a.m. and from 6 to 9 p.m. on weekdays. But this time, instead of August 1, the partial ban was to take effect on August 15, but dry runs were being conducted by the MMDA. Provincial buses were stopped and warned about the soon-to-be implemented ban. This is all part of the overall plan to make provincial buses use intermodal transport hubs established or to be established on the periphery of Metro Manila. The Valenzuela Interim Terminal for provincial buses coming from the north and the Southwest Interim Provincial Terminal for provincial buses from the south. Another reiteration is MMDA warning motorists about illegal towing operations conducted by fly-by-night and unaccredited tow trucks. The agency said motorists should be aware that accredited tow trucks are properly marked. The MMDA said the crews of illegal tow trucks try to confiscate licenses of drivers and take the keys of vehicles or even remove the batteries. Motorcycle groups again held what they called a unity ride, but this one is organized by Transport Watch along with the Riders of the Philippines, the Motorcycle Rights Organization, and the Arrancada Rights Alliance. This time, one of the objectives of the Unity Ride is to convince the DOTR to amend its directive on TNC and TNVS operations to include so-called motorcycle taxis. This is to legitimize its operation, now popular among commuters wishing to quickly get off traffic. The DOTR also reiterated commitment to building the Mega Manila Subway. DOTR Secretary Art Togade said construction of the subway, which initially would have stations at Mindanao Avenue, Quirino Highway, Tadangsora, and North Avenue, should begin before the end of December this year. A 51 billion peso loan agreement has been signed to fund the project, which should be operational by 2022. The MRT-3 ran trouble-free for 29 days before an electrical failure caused a problem that led to unloading of passengers at the Araneta station in Cubao. The funny thing was, just a day before the glitch, the RTR Secretary was reported to have boasted of the longest period of trouble-free operation since 2011. Meanwhile, the LTFRB has started the process of recalibrating taxi meters to reflect the new fare scheme. The LTFRB is also moving to make it mandatory for taxis to have CCTV cameras, GPS positioning devices. Only taxis with recalibrated meters can charge the new rates. Moving ahead in September. In the 9th month of the year, things appear to be moving faster towards the better. The LTO has partnered with Land Bank of the Philippines to allow online payment for transactions with the agency. But this partnership only initially covered the National Capital Region. A memorandum of agreement was signed expanding the use of LBP online payment facility for transactions with all LTO regional offices nationwide. The online payment scheme initially is for new registrations only, but LTO envisions this to cater to all transactions with the agency. The Parañaque Integrated Terminal Exchange, the intermodal transport hub that will cater to passengers coming from the south of Metro Manila, is 96% complete, according to a DOTR report. A DOTR said only the planned online ticketing system and RFID tagging of buses using the terminal remain to be uninstalled. The report indicates that this transport hub will soon be in operation, and this means at least 1,000 provincial buses need not enter Metro Manila to add to traffic congestion. The PITX can accommodate the turnover of 200,000 passengers a day. The MMDA has begun conducting a dry run of what it calls the Expanded High Occupancy Vehicle Traffic Scheme. fancy words for saying it will only allow vehicles with more than one occupants, meaning a driver and passenger on identified thoroughfares, this time EDSA. The scheme is meant to encourage carpooling. The MMC, however, has decided to extend the dry run of the scheme that has met with opposition from motorists. Full implementation will have to wait. To strengthen efforts to clear the so-called Mabuhay lanes of obstructions, the MMDA has instructed constables to issue citation tickets to vehicles parked illegally on the streets meant as alternate routes for avoiding traffic on EDSA and other major thoroughfares. It also recommended increasing fines for illegal parking of vehicles attended by drivers from 20 pesos to 1,000 pesos. Fines for unattended vehicles will be raised from 300 to 2,000 pesos. The MMC, however, has yet to approve the increase in fines. The LTFRB has begun accepting a new online applications for Certificate of Public Convenience from those seeking to operate as Transport Network Vehicle Service Provider. The LTFRB had earlier stopped accepting new applications for CPCs, while processing the applications of those in the list of TNVS providers submitted by TNCs such as Grab and Uber. However, it noticed that not all of the TNVS providers in its master list have applied for CPCs, indicating that many are now operating as colorum units. The LTFRB said it was disappointed by the low number of applications for CPCs from TNVS providers and will go after them. Those caught operating as TNVS without CPCs will have their vehicles impounded and fined. The DOTR and the LTFRB are not only pushing for the replacement of old jeepneys with more modern, efficient, and comfortable variants meeting Bureau of Standards specifications. They also are encouraging the entry of modern buses for public transportation. The PUVMP also envisions the entry of more fully air-conditioned buses equipped with comfortable reclining chairs, ramps for PWDs, CCTVs for security, dash cameras, free Wi-Fi, and automatic fare collection systems. It also envisions buses on the road with lavatory, refrigerators, and personal entertainment sets for travel in longer routes. The MPTC announced that it will start construction of the Connector Road, an 8-kilometer 4-lane elevated toll road, linking the NLEX to the SLEX ahead of schedule. Construction will begin in January 2019 instead of May. Groundbreaking for the road was to be undertaken in September. At the same time, the NLEX plans to build a southward entry ramp in Barangay Taal, as well as northbound entry and exit ramps in Barangay Tabumbong to ease congestion at the Bukawi interchange in Bulacan, which has seen worsening traffic congestion. Also seen to ease congestion at the Bukawi interchange is a new bypass road to be constructed from Governor F. Halili Avenue to Barangay Turo near the Bukawi Toll Plaza. This will allow motorists to drive to Metro Manila without passing the Bukawi interchange. Also expected to help ease traffic in Metro Manila is a project being completed in September in faraway Cavite. This is the Cavite Gateway Terminal, the first container roll-on roll-off barge terminal in the country. Containers from the Port of Manila can now be transported by barges to Cavite, which means fewer trucks or semis using roads to transport the barges between the 2 points. Estimates say the CGT will reduce truck trips to Metro Manila by 140,000 annually. To be implemented, after all, are the Bus Rapid Transit or BRT systems planned for Quezon City and Cebu. After being cast aside earlier by the DOTR, the BRT projects are again back on the drawing board after studies conducted by World Bank and the NEDA that both are still feasible. The 12.3-kilometer, 4.8 billion BRT Line 1 will run from the Quezon City Memorial Circle to Manila City Hall, passing the Elliptical Road, Quezon Avenue, and España. The 23-kilometer, 16 billion peso Cebu BRT will apply the Bulacan-Ayala-Talamban route. The BRT line for EDSA is still under review. To be deployed, after all, are the 48 Dalian trains, deemed earlier to be too heavy and incompatible for use on the MRT3 tracks. The DOTR reported that Dalian has agreed to pay for the cost of refitting the 48 trains to meet specifications to allow its use by the MRT. An independent audit and assessment conducted by TUV Rhineland said weights and measurements of the Dalian trains do not comply with the contract terms of reference. DOTR expects the Dalian trains, after refitting, to be deployed before year-end. The LTO will publish a Filipino driver's manual, which will include traffic laws, signs, and regulations, as well as LTO processes. The English version is already being printed. The LTO is moving to have the manual translated to Filipino and later on to Bisaya or Ilocano.
The third quarter showed that while some things seem to be getting worse, government and some in the private sector are moving to make things better. Let's find out what the final quarter of 2018 brings when we return after the break.
comfortable when you're out of your comfort zone and embrace a wider world of adventure. BRV, rise above your limits.
The things that make my day. My mini-me. My kind of jam. My passion. My blend of coffee. My inspiration. That's all good with the all-new Vios. My Vios, my drive.
I'm gonna miss you.
I'll miss you too.
So, why are you back?
I didn't want to miss you.
These are the Fuel Masters. Every time they're on the court, it's high performance. Every time I'm on the road, I can also expect high performance from Phoenix Fuels. We made it! The next generation Phoenix Fuels, now with Pulse technology, delivers enhanced power and acceleration to make every trip come alive.
Be comfortable when you're out of your comfort zone and embrace a wider world of adventure. BRV, rise above your limits.
This Motoring Today Year-End Special episode is brought to you by Campi, or the Chamber of Automotive Manufacturers of the Philippines, Honda Cars Philippines, Mitsubishi Motors Philippines, Prudential Guarantee, Suzuki Philippines, and Toyota Motor Philippines.
Welcome back to our year-end special, a review of the events and issues that affected motorists and motoring in 2018. We've already gone through the first 9 months of the year, and now we'll be looking at what happened in the final 3 months.
Big Ticket October. October sees big-ticket government programs getting underway or growing in strength. Like the PUVMP, critics earlier said that it may be imperiled. They report that the program to modernize public transport, but encouraging operators to replace aging units with new vehicles that comply with new government standards for PUVs, have gained steam. As of its last count, DOTR and LTFRB said they were processing over 400 applications from cooperatives seeking to benefit from the program. They have even set up a one-stop shop for faster processing of applications for franchises and routes. Meanwhile, the LTFRB is identifying new routes in many cities and municipalities that cooperatives could use to be a part of the PUVMP. Another big-ticket item could pave way for faster and more convenient transport is the PNR North 1 project, the first phase of a 106-kilometer railway project connecting Manila to Clark in Pampanga. Already up for bidding is the civil works component of a railway system from Tutaban in Manila to Malolos in Bulacan. The second phase of the project will be the construction of a railway system from Malolos to Clark Airport and New Clark City. DOTR is also determined to finally deploy the 48 Dalian coaches into service at the MRT-3, but wants the PNR to validate reports from third-party auditor TUV Rhineland that the refitting of the coaches made it safe and reliable for MRT-3 operations. PNR planned to conduct tests in October. The implementation of the high-occupancy vehicle lanes in EDSA may soon affect regulations on the use of tints for car windshields and windows. The MMDA reported that CCTV monitoring of the HOV lanes on EDSA found it difficult to determine how many passengers are in vehicles with dark tints. The LTO has informed the MMDA that it plans to issue new regulations on the use of tints, and that those who don't comply with window tint regulations won't get to renew their registrations. Owners of vehicles registered from July 2016 onwards who still haven't gotten their license plates can now go online to check if their license plates are now available for pickup. The LTO said its website now have a tab for options to use to check the availability of their license plates. They need to enter a 15-digit file number, and if the plates are already available, they will be informed on when and where to go to claim them. Every October finds tollway operators preparing for Undas, when tens of thousands of vehicles jam expressways on their way to the provinces. The MPTC implements its Safe Trip Mo Sagot Ko program at the NLEX, SETEX, and the Cavitex. Toll gates are maximized, temporary toll gates and ambulant toll collectors are employed, additional patrol and response teams are deployed, 24-hour free towing services are available for those who may experience car troubles, first aid stations are placed at strategic points. In the days leading to Undas, MMDA also cleared obstructions on roads leading to and from cemeteries in Metro Manila by deploying more constables and frontline personnel to help manage traffic as part of Oplet Undas 2018. IACT also got into the picture, urging LGUs to prepare traffic management systems for Undas and deploying teams to help manage traffic around major cemeteries. October also found vehicle owners, especially of four-wheel drive vehicles, up in arms over the LTO campaign, targeting what it called vehicles with illegal modifications. LTO checkpoints stop motor vehicles with obvious modifications like outsized tires. Even those with aftermarket rims are scrutinized. The LTO claimed it was only enforcing laws and regulations already in place. The ban on provincial buses passing EDSA at certain hours of the day was not as effective in reducing vehicle volume in the major thoroughfare as the MMDA thought it would, so it decided to stop the scheme and revert to just enforcing number coding regulations on buses coming from the provinces. November, 11th month enhancements. Enhancements seem to be the theme for November. Starting off with the system enhancement installed by MPTC at NLEX, SETEX, and Cavitex. The growing number of motorists using Easy Trip has prompted MPTC to designate more lanes for Easy Trip subscribers. This is aside from the construction of more toll gates at all three expressways. SETEX has installed emergency call boxes at Dinalupihan, Porac, Dolores, and San Miguel for motorists in distress. More electronic message boards were put up at the Florida Blanca, Concepcion, Porac, and Bamban interchanges. The flyover at the Cavitex will soon be fully open for northbound motorists turning left towards the access to Macapagal. MPTC also streams real-time live feed of traffic flow in expressways using Facebook Live. All these are enhancing convenience and security of motorists. The LTO moved to enhance its online payment system for new vehicle registrations to cover the entire island of Luzon by the end of November and the rest of the country by the end of the year. Meanwhile, MPTC has to be patient waiting for the TRB to review and decide on 3 petitions for toll adjustments filed separately in 2012, 2014, and 2016. The commuter experience for those coming from south of Metro Manila should be enhanced with the formal opening of the Parañaque Integrated Terminal Exchange. The PITX served as terminal for provincial and intercity buses while providing easy access to shuttles, vans, taxis, jeepneys, and other PUVs to take commuters into the metro. It features spacious waiting areas with comfortable seating, free Wi-Fi, breastfeeding stations, charging stations, and lockers. The PITX also will have retail shops and food centers. Office spaces are also available for lease. More P2P routes were open to serve commuters. Ube Express began operating P2P routes serving commuters and travelers at all NAIA terminals with stops at Alabang Town Center, Ayala South Park, and Muntinlupa, Robinson's Tagapo in Santa Rosa, and Soledad in Nuvali, Santa Rosa in Laguna. Ube Express uses modern Euro 5 compliant buses with low floor entry, wheelchair ramps, and are equipped with air conditioning, GPS, Wi-Fi, CCTV, and adequate luggage racks and compartments. The Philippine government and the JICA signed an 18 billion peso loan agreement to fund the MRT-3 rehabilitation project. The project includes rehabilitation and maintenance of the MRT-3 electromechanical components, power supply, rail tracks, depot equipment, and overall of 72 18-year-old light rail vehicles. Once the rehabilitation is completed, the MRT expects to increase the number of trains operating at peak hours from 15 to 20, increase train speeds to 60 km per hour, slash waiting times for trains to just 3.5 minutes. Meanwhile, the DOTR assured the riders that the MRT-3 will not increase fare until all improvements are in place. The LTFRB granted a 1 peso increase for minimum fares to Metro Manila buses, while provincial buses can now charge 1.55 pesos for every kilometer traveled after the initial 5 kilometers covered by the minimum fare. It was the first fare adjustments for buses since 2011. Government remains steadfast with plans to modernize the PUV sector, but clarified that there are no plans to cancel current franchises and force replacements of old units during the transition period, which ends in 2020. Meanwhile, it continues to encourage PUV operators, especially individual franchise holders, to consolidate with or join cooperatives looking to benefit from participation in the PUV-MP to modernize operations. The newly reopened Boracay will have an integrated transportation system featuring fixed-route PUVs and e-trikes. The transport system will use contactless payment cards and wristbands, which tourists and visitors can use with both jeepneys and e-trikes. The payment cards and wristbands can be bought as daily or weekly passes. The PUVs will have designated stops with waiting sheds and will feature Wi-Fi, CCTV, and GPS. After consultation with stakeholders, including vehicle owners who like modifications, vehicle aftermarket product suppliers, the LTO has agreed to establish a system for the issuance of certifications of road safety for any and all modifications done to vehicles. The LTO will accredit modification service centers, which will issue the certificates which will state that the modifications undertaken and when and where the vehicles with modifications can be used safely. December, holidays and gifts. Heading to December, trucker groups decided to hold a different sort of holiday. A truck holiday, stopping work at the port and generally causing a noisy sort of disruption for 5 days. The aim was to force the government to scrap the plan to retire 15-year trucks outright and replace them with new ones. The DOTR talked it through, threatening sanctions for what it called economic sabotage. But in the end, the disruptive holiday resulted in the DOTR blinking and giving the truckers an early Christmas gift, categorically announcing the scrapping of plans to phase out 15-year-old trucks and instead establish a credible LTO motor vehicle inspection system to certify the roadworthiness of all trucks, regardless of age. Another early Christmas gift will benefit commuters and traders, the promise of a modern railway system for passengers and cargo linking Manila, Clark, and Subic. The Philippines and Japan signed an exchange of notes that will help turn this promise into reality. Japan providing funding and expertise for the 109-kilometer north-south commuter railway extension project. The extension project will be part of the NSCR system that integrates 38-kilometer PNR Clark 1 line from Tutuban to Malolos, the 52-kilometer PNR Clark 2 line from Malolos to Clark, and the 56-kilometer PNR Calamba line from Solis to Calamba. The NSCR system project will cost 777.55 billion pesos and comprises 36 stations, 58 8-car trains that include 7 airport express trains, double-track fully elevated railway system that will one day be linked to LRT1, LRT2, and MRT3, as well as the Metro Manila subway. The system is scheduled to begin partial operations in 2022 and be fully operational by 2023. To help keep the Christmas holiday blues away, read that as horrendous the holiday rush traffic congestion, the MMD initiated a number of measures, requiring malls to change opening and closing hours and not hold Christmas sales on weekdays, encouraging carpooling, intensifying crackdown on alarm PUVs, and clearing operations on roads. The task of overseeing metro traffic during the holidays and the next year's falls on new traffic czar Bong de Bria, who will replace Rodolfo Calpito, who is set to retire as Chief Traffic Inspector and EDSA's Special Traffic and Transport Zone Head. The DOTR said that the maintenance and rehabilitation of the MRT3 will be undertaken by Sumitomo Mitsubishi Heavy Industries, and that the transition has begun for the Japanese firm to take over the maintenance responsibilities of the railway.
The final quarter of 2018, the run-up to the holidays and the new year, certainly reflects what we said at the start of our year-end special, that it was a year of things good and bad. Again, was there good and bad in equal measure? We'll wrap up our year-end special when we return after this break.
Be comfortable when you're out of your comfort zone and embrace a wider world of adventure. BRV, rise above your limits.
Introducing the all-new Mitsubishi Expander.
The things that make my day. My mini-me. My kind of jam. My passion. My blend of coffee. My inspiration. That's all good with the all-new Vios. My Vios, my drive.
Be comfortable when you're out of your comfort zone and embrace a wider world of adventure. BRV, rise above your limits.
This Motoring Today Year-End Special episode is brought to you by CAMPI, or the Chamber of Automotive Manufacturers of the Philippines, Honda Cars Philippines, Mitsubishi Motors Philippines, Prudential Guarantee, Suzuki Philippines, and Toyota Motor Philippines.
Welcome back to Motoring Today's Year-End Special, the year that was in motoring. What can we say about the year 2018? We can say that we continued to experience all the bad things that made the last few years, at the very least, difficult for motorists and commuters, pedestrians, and the general public. Of course, traffic and government actions that many deem unreasonable or not quite well thought of. Riders and those who love to modify vehicles can relate here. But we can also say that there are many good things happening. Government's steadfastness with initiatives to modernize transportation. And contrary to what some groups say, it's not all about replacing the jeepney. It's also about offering the commuters comfort, convenience, and reasonably priced transport that don't have that big of a carbon footprint. And yes, the build policy that seemed to benefit motorists in terms of better roads and bridges, and to commuters, the promise of efficient railways and more comfortable commutes, and also seems to infuse energy to the private sector to hire, and to do more or more. Tollway operators are particularly active here. Riders may not agree with this, but truckers would. The present government seems to be more active and forthcoming in consulting with stakeholders and to enter into win-win compromises. So yes, we ask at the start of this special year-end show to decide on whether the good and bad came in equal measures or not. We believe the good outweighed the bad in 2018. And with that, we end our special year-end report on the year that was in motoring. Happy holidays and happy motoring.